Previously on the Sunless Citadel.
As Methuselah raise their arm to brace themselves against the tree, you can see that there is no hand. It is just fresh wound on their arm. And Yorick, the friend that has been with them since they left Fool's Fortune, is not with them at all.
With difficulty, you look around, and only one thing stands out to you. A mirror, observing you. There is no reflection in it though. It is just darkness within. And how did you die?
Oh, I'm not dead. I'm just...
Yeah, I'll cut you off right here. I am not dumb. I have seen my fair share of death, and I have healed people at a brink to death. I know a corpse when I inspect it.
Morris is gonna kind of turn his head into his shell like he tends to do.
Thorn, I know you're going through a lot right now, but I think it best that you sleep for a bit.
In the darkness of the shell, all you see is eyes and teeth baring at you.
Throughout the vastness of the multiverse, there lies a tavern. As you approach its doors, you catch bubbles of laughter that rise and burst into cheers as colorful groups of travelers find comfort in their bonds. As you head inside, the smile of the tavern keeper greets you. They're an otherworldly being with a bluish, corporeal form. They wear attire befitting of an innkeeper, and they have a large, cloudy nebula for hair speckled with stars, which gently sways with their movement.
Welcome to the Storyteller Tavern, where stories are served like ale and a seat is open for you at every table. Tonight's special is the Sunless Citadel, an epic adventure of high fantasy with notes of friendship, danger, and most importantly, hope. Will our adventure survive to descent into the dungeon, or is there a darkened calamity taking roots far from the sun's reach?
You arrive by the side of Mortis, and starts the watch.
Do you want us to do perception?
Yes, please.
I got another now one.
I got a 19.
Mortis, you are very attentive. Your watch truly is without respite. It is vigilant at all times. So vigilant that you notice Methuselah not looking at anything but the ground in front of them.
I'm looking at Urki, just staring very nervously at Urki.
I see you've taken an interest in our new friend.
Oh, yes, they seem very, very knowledgeable.
Yes, we were having an interesting conversation before. I was telling me a little bit about his goddess.
With his little gulps, that just nervous, oh no, they were talking.
Oh, that's nice. It must be interesting to talk about deities with a fellow deity worshipper.
Was certainly interesting, yes.
So, it seems that I sort of blacked out back there. I don't have much memory of what happened. Do you mind filling me in a bit? You did mention a dark power that I used. I don't really remember that. All I sort of remember is seeing, Meepo and Thorn rushing towards the Dark Warden in a weird way. I don't know why I remember that. And then there was blackness, and then I woke up in Seeker's arms. It was strange.
I'm not sure if that dragon was the Dark Warden, but you never really described him, but I pictured him as a bit more imposing. That dragon that we've encountered seemed fairly young.
It's strange because the dragon that's on the ground now is definitely not the Dark Warden. This is a white dragon, and the Dark Warden was a black one.
Is it possible that you might have had another one of your memory spasms?
I don't really know what brought it on. I mean, perhaps it was the dragon.
As I mentioned before, the dragon lashed out at Meepo when he attempted to feed it and bring it back with us, and that's when everything changed. Thorn was so petrified at the sight of Meepo's death that he ran away. As for you, you seemed to go into some sort of trance. There was this dark energy flowing around you, and just above you there was this black void creature. I'm not sure what it was. It seemed to have some sort of shadow-like power.
That's very strange. What did it look like, if you don't mind me asking?
To be honest, I was focused on the battle, but from the glimpses I saw, it resembled an elf, but one far different than you. Pale skin, red eyes. Not one I've seen before. Could it be someone from your past, perhaps?
I'd say that when Mortis mentions those descriptions, the memory that I recollected flashes in my mind in a weird way, and I'm back at that mirror, staring at myself, and Methuselah's face just gets visibly disturbed by hearing that description.
Oh, that is rather strange. I don't know if that was someone I knew. I mean, I recognize it.
A look of concern flashes over Mortis's face.
My apologies, I hope I haven't disturbed you at all.
No, it's all right. It's just that sort of presence. It was me.
In what sense? I didn't really resemble you specifically.
I used to look like that.
Was that you in your youth, perhaps?
Yes. Another time. Long ago. Very long.
Trust me, I know from experience, memories can be a fickle thing. But, other than that, this apparition of yourself, it seemed to be affecting the dragon somehow. You were saying these words and casting spells, but they were in a language I couldn't understand. But whatever you were doing, it really hurt the dragon. In fact, you wouldn't remember, but it had grabbed me and carried me into the air, and you were the one who killed it.
I see. Are you all right, though? You didn't suffer any injuries from the dragon's attack?
It put up a good fight, but my shell protected me, and Urki's healing certainly helped. Fortunately, I managed to stave off most of the fall, but if anything, I think I was more emotionally injured than physically.
And, Seeker and Thorn, they weren't hurt in the fight either?
No. Seeker was analyzing the room, trying to find a method of escape for us, and Thorn had run away at the sight of Meepo dying. After the battle, I was very concerned about him. I went after Thorn, and, well, last I saw you were still in that state. I'm not sure what happened after that. You would have to ask Seeker, but I believe that whatever trance you were under ended as soon as the dragon was slain.
Thorn did seem rather distraught, I guess is the word I'd say to describe it. I sort of went over to where Meepo is resting and lit some candles in tradition of Luxair's teachings to sort of light the soul on its travel, and Thorn was there as well. Sort of didn't really want to be bothered.
I think that Thorn needs some time to process all of this. This may just be a theory, but I think that part of this was him realizing how much the deaths that we've seen thus far have hurt him. He seemed fine when we told him about the goblins, but I think he was holding back all that emotion, and seeing Meepo, a very close friend, die in front of him might have been the breaking point. He hasn't said a word since he ran off.
Not even to you?
He just gently shakes his head.
I'm worried, but all I can do is give him his space. He's not the type to respond well to confrontation or trying to force out answers. When the time is right, he will speak to me, and I will be there.
There, I'm glad that he has someone like you by his side.
Sometimes I wonder if I'm enough to watch over him, to watch over all of you. I may be an old man, but I haven't really done something like this before. I'm used to being on the surface, fighting out in the wilds, exploring the lands of Lestry, but this, I fear my life experiences are quite invalid.
You've kept us alive so far, so there's some merit there.
I've done my best, but I fear that things will get more dangerous as we go on. But I do know now that my quest has changed somewhat.
Oh, in what way, might I ask, friend?
As I mentioned to you during our conversation on the surface, my original goal in the Sunless Citadel was partially to locate the Apple of Virtue and secure it so that it not fall into the hands of the greedy or the amoral. But in our quest, and hearing of this evil druid who's been using their powers to twist the world around them, by my goddess's creed, this abomination must be destroyed. They upset the natural order of this place, and to corrupt the druidic powers, it's unforgivable. My solemn vow is that I will destroy this druid before we leave this place.
As he speaks, you see the most serious face you've ever seen on him. There's no hint of the jovialness and the old manness. He's just completely stoic. He's not even fully looking at you. He's kind of looking off to the side as he says this, but as soon as he finishes that speech, he refocuses on you.
Methuselah's mage hand just kind of falls on your shoulder.
And we'll be with you when that happens, friends. We'll stand by your side.
The sort of warm, elderly smile returns to Mortis's face.
It's good to have an ally like you. Someone that I can fight alongside. Someone that I can trust.
It fills me with pride to stand beside a hero such as you, Mortis.
But enough about me. How are you? This must be shocking, hearing all this information.
It is very strange. Mostly because, I don't know if you'll believe this, but I've been here before. This whole place, it's actually where I was kept by the Dark Warden. I don't know how. It seems like it was just a year ago, or months, that I was here, and it's fallen into such disrepair, and there's already a druid that's taken hold of this place and the garden as well. I've been there. I've seen the garden. I've seen this whole place. It's strange. I don't know how it's possible, how time could be so twisted down here.
There's a slight look of surprise on Mortis's face, but it kind of dissipates.
In truth, I had suspected that you had some level of familiarity with this place beyond understanding the Draconic Empire. But I'm sorry that through this quest you've had to re-experience this terrible place. In terms of your not being able to understand the concept of how long ago it was, this may just be intuition, but I remember back in Lestry, certain elves some of the older ones would speak to me about how, as they live on and time becomes immaterial, centuries feel as minuscule as days and such. My species is fairly long-lived, but I think that we view time in a much more symbiotic way. We try to make every moment count, but when you live for hundreds or thousands of years, it can be difficult to process. You have clearly been through a great burden, my friend.
I don't know. I know that I'm elven, but I've only lived for 45 years. I'm not that long-lived. It just doesn't make sense in my mind. I don't know what sort of influences are down here that can sort of do that. It just doesn't make sense. And I don't know what's going on. It's very strange.
This place is indeed strange, unknowable even. Tell me, a curiosity. You say that the apparition showed a previous version of yourself. At what point did the change occur when you became the person you are now?
I don't know. I remember running from something. No, I wasn't running. I was walking. No, I wasn't walking. I couldn't walk. And I saw this version of me now in a mirror somewhere, in a cave. It sort of reached out to me and pulled me in somewhere dark. A place of no light, a place of no stars. That's all I remember. I do remember another voice. It spoke to me. It told me to turn around. I don't know what that means. But I remember it's telling me that over and over again. In that dark place.
Try not to strain yourself too much. These things can clearly be painful, and if there's something you don't remember, then perhaps your mind has simply repressed it. One of my wife's old proverbs is, if you can't remember something, no matter how hard you try, it might not be worth remembering.
Perhaps not. But there's some part of me that is curious, that wants to put this all together. Especially why I don't remember passage of time, especially here, between the Dark Warden and how this place is now.
Is it possible that you might have been drawn to this place, subconsciously even, for a reason beyond seeking out the apple? I know that obviously finding the apple and helping your wife would be your most important priority, but perhaps there is a side of your story that hasn't been uncovered quite yet.
My memories down here, although hard, are becoming more present. My mind isn't so jumbled as it once was, so I think there is some truth to what you're saying.
No matter the case, know that as you uncover all of the knowledge of your past life, and as we move forward, you will not be alone. We will help you, and by the honor of She, I swear to you that for as long as I am by your side, I will help you discover who you really are.
Thank you, my friend.
And Methuselah genuinely looks relieved hearing that, because they've spent so long alone. So that's a genuine comfort.
Well, I suppose we've spent enough time on sorrows. Tell me more about your wife.
It is a beautiful morning. It is just the light hitting the right side of Cat Castle as the breeze from the north sweeps in and allows Seeker to wake up in a very gentle and beautiful comfort. You stretch, you make sure to grab your right tools for the morning, a nice little ball of yarn, and your favorite knife. You start to head down towards the ground area. Behind Cat Castle, there's a little area which you guys nicely call the garden, a place where the vegetables used in the kitchen are planted, nurtured, and cared for. And it becomes a very nice activity for all the members of the community, as sometimes volunteers just appears in the mornings of Cat Castle to help out with the gardening. Your sister, Faith, is one of those individuals that adores to start their morning with a little bit of hard work in the gardening. Many a times you have caught her sneaking out of her room before the light first shines in the day, just to be able to start with their hands in the dirt. She's there, alright. But interestingly enough, she's not alone. The head of Cat Castle, the High Priestess, is also there. They are having a discussion about where to best place these very special seeds. Before you finally approach, they conclude that the best location for these seeds are at the south corner of the garden. There's a nice spot, and the last comment you hear before Faith turns to you is the head priestess saying, "That place is perfect for an apple tree." Faith turns to you, noticing your presence. She goes, "Oh, hey, Seeker. What are you doing so early?"
Well, I figured I woke up and, it's nice to start your day in the gardens, as you well know. And, well, I figured you'd be down here as well. And, you always make my day better, sister.
Oh, and so do you. I have to say, I was actually getting into a very difficult decision. But what do you think? And then she kind of gets closer to the area that was decided by the head priestess. If we get an apple tree here, do you think it would provide enough shade for us to take naps?
Seeker's gonna think about it for a moment and kind of picture, like, the apple trees that they've seen in their life. And then they're gonna turn to Faith. I think that it might. It should do once it got big enough.
I was thinking of actually going towards the temple of Vontavas. With our little halfling friends. They are very knowledgeable about nurturing, and I have heard rumors about some of them being even able to speed up the process if you have enough love and care for our little green friends. And you know what? When this apple tree grows, it's gonna do a lot of good for this community. I'll tell you that.
Oh, is it some kind of, like, special apple tree?
Oh, that it is. I don't know if I should tell you this, but these are the seeds of an apple called the apple of virtue. And me and the head priestess has seen a person that was close to death being able to be healed because of one slice of this apple. I need to talk to you about something very important, because I want you to keep an eye out for me taking care of Cat Castle, because I'm gonna be heading on a special mission tomorrow morning. This mission is exactly to get that apple. It shouldn't take long.
Well, I'd always do anything that you asked of me, and, Cat Castle is our home. It's where we were raised, it's where we grown up. It's the only home that we've known. So, yeah, absolutely. I'll do my very best job. I wouldn't let anything bad happen to this place.
That's why I asked you, and she kind of pokes your neck just to tickle you a little bit. Now, can you tell me where I left that one cloak of mine? It's the one that matches with yours, the cherry one with the gray stitching.
Oh, I think I saw it maybe when I was leaving our apartment. I think you may have left it in the closet.
I love that coat, but it's kind of a heavy one. It's getting colder, so I want to make sure to be very, very well protected,
Yeah, it wouldn't do us any good if anything bad happened to you, and I'd be very, very worried if you were to get sick.
No, you don't need to worry about that. I have the Kelly with me. Alright then, I'm gonna go look for that. I'll meet you in the food area. I'm pretty sure I heard our mom making the special one. The chicken?
Oh yeah, I know the one. I'm looking forward to it. Well, I'll let you go on your way, Faith, and Seeker's gonna wrap her in a hug.
I love you, Seeker.
I love you too, Faith.
And don't forget, Seeker.
Seeker.
And that is the voice of the person waking you up for your watch here in the depths of the Sunless Citadel.
Oh, sorry. I think I may have overslept. Is everything all right?
Sorry to wake you. I was just getting you ready for your watch. You alright? You seem a bit perplexed.
Yeah, just some memories. A very important memory to me. I'm fine. I'm fine, Mortis.
Well, good memories, I hope. If you're going to get lost in a memory, it's better that it's a good one, in my experience.
Faith was there. We were talking about plans for a tree in the garden.
Mortis kind of has like a slightly somber look on his face. He puts a hand on Seeker's shoulder.
I know you miss Faith, but I promise we'll find her.
I know we will. It's the reason why I'm here. She's the most important thing in the world to me.
Well, I'm going to head off to bed now, but if you need anything at all from me, don't hesitate to wake me.
Much appreciated, Mortis. Thank you. I think Methuselah and I have got this.
Of course.
And he gives you a slight nod and then heads over to his bedroll.
It starts the watch between Methuselah and Seeker.
I would say that when you come over to Methuselah, they have Yorick out and a notebook, and they're playing random tunes to try to get something right. And then they're looking at their notebook and then muttering to themselves and then just writing something down and then going back to playing.
Seeker's not going to interrupt. They're just going to curl up in a little cat ball by Methuselah.
All right, go ahead and do a perception check for your watch.
So I got a 10.
I got a 7.
What are you guys doing?
Seeker is trying to sort through their thoughts, the memories that came back in that dream, and they kind of want to talk to Methuselah when they're ready.
I would say after a while of Methuselah struggling with the song that they're making, he finally sees that Seeker is there and goes,
"Oh, Seeker, I didn't see you there. I'm sorry."
No, Methuselah, it's quite all right. You were playing, and it made me feel better.
I tend to get wrapped up in my songs. Makes me a little bit aloof sometimes.
Oh, no, there's nothing wrong with, caring about your art. I think that's very, very important.
Are you alright, though? I know you had a bit of a scare with me falling unconscious.
Yeah, I mean, now that I'm seeing that you're all right, I feel a lot better. You are feeling all right?
Yes, I'm feeling better than before.
Well, that's good. I'm sorry we didn't do anything about that arrow. I completely forgot it, and you didn't bring it up. You're really tough.
I think there was also some sort of numbing effect in the poison. I remember feeling it when it hit, but obviously in the middle of battle you're not going to deal with something like that when there's enemies abound.
Well, yeah, unless it's actually incapacitating you, you probably wouldn't notice, like a little bit of a flesh wound,
Yes. Well, I'm writing a song, and I was wondering if perhaps you could help me with something. I'm having a bit of trouble.
Oh, absolutely. What can I help you with?
I've sort of been compiling notes this whole time. Any time that you've sort of talked about your sister, and from what I gathered in Cat Castle as well, I'd like to write a song for Faith when I meet her. She sounds very heroic, so I thought it would be nice to grace her with a song.
Oh, absolutely. If there's anybody in Tom's Rest that knows everything about Faith, it's me, as her brother and her best friend, so I am completely equipped to help you out with this song.
I would like to ask, does she like music?
Oh, she does. Now, most of her music that she knows really well is more like hymns and songs that celebrate the cat lady, which are very, very fun. When we get back, we're gonna need to expose you to all of that fun music. I think you'll really like it.
When Seeker mentions going back, Methuselah looks a little bit sad.
Yes, of course, that would be a dream to see. But, what sort of, hymns, do you know any that would be good inspiration?
I don't know if I've ever told you, but one of my big dreams in life is to find the original journal of the cat lady.
You haven't?
Oh, I haven't mentioned that. Okay, well, anyways, the cat lady had this journal when she was caring for the first cat. So in documenting all of this, she talked a lot about like caring for cats and, making sure that the community is strong and happy and supportive and, emphasizing the importance of teaching the cats how to play. And so Faith sees this book as something really, really important to our religion, and I do as well, because, it's a one-of-a-kind piece. There's a hymn about what that book teaches us, and it's mostly centered around play and community, and it's a very, very fun hymn. Whenever we sing it in the temple, we're all playing. It's so much fun.
I see. It sounds quite jovial, I'd say.
Oh, we are a very, very jovial religion.
Yes, so I suppose I should attune the song to be a little more playful.
Oh yeah, I definitely have faith in you, Methuselah. You can do it. I believe in you.
And is there anything that you'd like to say to Faith when you first meet her?
I think the first thing I want to do when I see her again is I want to give her a big hug and make sure that she's all right, and then tell her that I miss her and that I love her. At the same time, I'm scared about thinking about when I'm going to see her again, because, going through all of this, she would have changed. I've changed, and that doesn't mean we're not going to love each other anymore, because we've always valued each other, but I hope that we value what we have even more now.
Well, I imagine that spending time apart will definitely bring you closer together, and I do hope that we are able to find her soon.
Oh, I hope so too. This is the longest I've ever been without her since she was born. She's only a couple years younger than me, and it feels weird because I've always really had her in my life, and she's always had me. And when you lose that one person, you know how this feels, Methuselah. You're missing Chrysantha.
Oh yes, it is quite hard to be apart from the people that you care about the most. I think the worst part about it is the helplessness you feel, not being able to help them.
Oh, definitely. You know that they're strong, but what if something happens to them and they need you and you're not there? Like they wouldn't want you to blame yourself, right? But it's going to happen anyway.
Yes, I suppose so. Not to dwell too much on the sad things, perhaps you could tell me what your favorite sort of things about Faith are.
Oh, of course, I can absolutely do that. I really love how passionate she is, not just about the cat lady, but teaching and caring for people. And Mortis is an amazing healer, but Faith has really put so much of her time and energy into learning how to heal, and she's actually quite excellent at it. And sometimes she'll come back to our little apartment and she'll telling me stories about the people that she's helped, and I love seeing the light in her eyes just shining when she tells me these stories. She's excellent in the garden. She usually wakes up early to spend some time down there and help out with all the gardening and the prep. She's okay at cooking. It's not one of her strongest suits, but again, that's what we got Mama for. And she's always just such a bright light in the temple, and she never turns away a friend when they're in need. She's always giving, and she's just the most amazing tabaxi I've ever met.
Well, that's very heroic, and she's definitely deserving of a song.
Oh, definitely. I think that everyone around us right now is very deserving of a song, but 100% Faith. If you had to choose between writing a song for me and a song for Faith, choose Faith. Choose Faith every time.
Oh, don't worry, I have all the time in the world to write songs for people.
Yeah, elves have a longer lifespan than most of us, don't they?
Yes, pretty much an eternity.
I don't know what I would do with all that time. I think I'd probably just spend it all just playing.
I have a long, long list of songs to write.
Well, yeah, because you're so cool and you've met so many cool people, Methuselah.
Can I do a performance check to retry this song that I'm concocting?
Go out ahead.
So that's a 16.
Slowly but surely. It takes a little bit longer than you would like, but in the end, you're able to get satisfied with the progress you have made so far with this song.
I would say that the song is a lot more playful than what Methuselah usually plays. It has a lot of like hope, as warm as a hurdy-gurdy can sound, really. And it's very nice and warm and hopeful as Methuselah can be.
The Seeker's gonna put their paws together for their best friend, because that was amazing.
Oh, thank you. I hope that Faith will like it.
Oh, I'm sure that she will. She's gonna love all of you, honestly. I mean, you're super fun, and Thorn is the crazy type of fun. I want to keep Thorn at Cat Castle, because he's really, really playful, and I think that we could use another play instructor. Now, Mortis, still fun, but less playful. But she'll still love him.
Well, Mortis is a bit older, so I imagine his sort of play is a little slower. Which, there's nothing wrong with that.
Oh no, absolutely not. Like, even the older Tabaxi in the temple, they always love playing. And I'm sure that, you know, if Mortis decided to come back as well, he could join in one of the older playtime things, you know?
I wonder, could he teach the Tabaxi how to swim? I've seen sort of these exercises that some older elves do in lakes.
I think that I would pass on that one. I don't like getting wet very much.
It is very good for the bones, I hear, and the muscles.
Yeah, you don't want to know what happened last time when Faith and I went outside and we were playing and it started to rain and we decided to jump in the mud and I refused to take a bath until Mama had to throw me in the bath, and it was not very fun. I nearly scratched my pa's eyes out, so I do not react well to being thrown in water.
With that, the conversation starts to dwindle, slowly towards smaller and smaller talk, until time finally passes. You guys realize that it's time to proceed. You don't know what dangers might be just outside.
I would say, like, when Seeker's probably gonna, like, wake up the others, I'd like to go and find Urki.
While everybody is slowly getting themselves ready, you do see Urki slowly waking up in his corner that it was near Mortis before Mortis got up to prepare himself for the next day and also check out on Thorn, very likely. You approach.
Good, I suppose, morning, Urki.
There is a very small pause of hesitation from what he's doing, and then he slowly turns and he goes, yeah, good morning to you too.
Can I do an insight check on him?
Mm-hmm.
That was a 12.
You know that he's still very apprehensive of you.
How are you today?
Well, one more day here, and interesting to see where this goes.
Yes, me as well.
I see everybody here is okay then. Good to know.
Do you want to see something interesting?
There's a small pause. Well, that depends. What are you thinking there, buddy?
You are a scholar, so I assume this would be interesting to you.
His eyes slowly squint a little. Go on.
So Methuselah is gonna take off their gloves and kind of spread out their hands and go,
Ta-da!
His squinted eyes widen in a moment's notice. Oh, Lyrta, there's no way to hide those except for gloves, eh?
Yes, but I think they're very cool. It's a very cool trick.
Yeah, it's just interesting, and then he kind of like gingerly approaches before he catches himself and then steps back again. It seems like it doesn't impede you from doing your normal activities.
Most things, I can't really lift heavy objects, and lifting myself with these hands are a little bit difficult, but I can do this.
and then the hands are gonna kind of float behind Methuselah where Yorick is actually strapped, and he's gonna start playing Yorick.
He does not hold himself. This time he kind of like gingerly circles you just so he can see the hands playing the instrument, and he goes, oh, it's almost like that one miracle, the glowing hands. Some of the more proficient in the art of light weaving, is able to cast something similar, but it doesn't require us losing our hands. Is that not part of your spirit? How would that even work?
I really don't know. I'm not a scholar. I'm not really versed in these sort of things, but I use magic, so that's how I do this.
Oh yeah, of course. No, don't worry. Well, it's good to know. It's good to know. To see what you're capable of doing. That's good. I'm interested to see what else you can do as we proceed. And then the rest of the group finally gets around to be ready.
Has anyone seen where Thorn ran off to?
Last I saw Thorn, he was under where Meepo was. He did not look great, and he also did not want to be bothered.
I understand. I'll see if I can get through to him.
He's gonna kind of walk over to the tapestry.
Thorn, you feel the presence of someone approaching the tapestry. It is just 1 or 2 feet away from the very edge of the tapestry.
Growling commences.
Thorn, it's Mortis. Are you alright? I know that what happened to Meepo was hard on you, but we need to move on. We'll give him a proper burial. We can't leave you behind.
Go away.
I can't do that.
Go away. Thorn does not want you here.
Morris is gonna sit down cross-legged in front of the tapestry.
I can't do that. It's time for us to go. I understand that you need time to mourn, and I promise there will be time, but right now, we have a quest to carry on.
I'd say you just hear more growling. You probably hear dragging noises as you see the tapestry trying to move backwards away from you. Like Thorn is like dragging everything backwards.
I will wait as long as necessary. If it helps, then I can make a prayer over Meepo to She so that he may find peace in the afterlife.
Thorn lifts the tapestry slightly and like throws a rock at Mortis, but it lands short and bumps into him.
I won't push you. Take your time, as much as you need. I'll be here.
And then he stays sitting, and then he closes his eyes and starts mouthing prayers to himself just to like keep himself occupied. So he's basically just waiting you out at this point.
While all of this is happening, can Seeker go and loot the dragon scales?
Sure. Roll for me a survival check.
Dirty 20!
You're not versed in butchering a creature like a dragon, but there is some basics that you are able to use. And successfully, you're able to collect what would be a D6 worth of scales that are the size of small discs, no more than 10 centimeters diameter-wise, in oval-like shapes. Roll the D6 to see how much you get.
3.
You have pulled more out. It's just that these 3 are the ones that you say, yeah, these are worth something. The other ones got damaged, or it's not as good looking. The blood is not coming out. It's stuff like that.
I would say that Methuselah kind of hung out awkwardly with Urki for a bit, was kind of watching Mortis and seeing how like that was going, because Methuselah's a little bit worried about Thorn. Is gonna kind of notice Mortis like sitting there afterwards, and then is gonna go over to Seeker, seeing them pull out the scales and be like,
are you having any sort of trouble?
No, I managed to get these 3 because I like your coat. I think I've mentioned I like your coat. It's really cool and I like it. And so I was thinking I could make you a matching glove. Well, not really matching, but still made of like dragon, you know?
I suppose it would match the coat in some sort of way.
Yeah, because it would be like dragon couture.
I don't know what that means, but sure. If you're done here, I was wondering if maybe you'd like to sort of come with me. I want to say, goodbyes to Meepo, and I think Mortis does as well, and I'm not sure if Thorn is doing all right, so maybe having all of us there saying goodbyes might help in some way.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I wanted to say a few words about Meepo as well, because I really liked that little dragony fella. The kobolds, right? Yeah, I think that Meepo was probably my favorite of all the ones that we met, and we didn't meet that many, but
these kobolds are definitely good sort of folk.
I'm really sad about what happened to Meepo, because, I don't know, it felt like he'd been betrayed by a friend, and I've never experienced that, but I know I wouldn't like that feeling, so I hope that it wasn't too painful for the little guy.
I hope not either. And then Methuselah is going to kind of walk over to where Mortis is and probably, sit beside Mortis, not really, getting him out of his meditation, but just sort of sitting there in reverence.
Seeker's gonna join them.
The three of you sit around, waiting for your fourth companion. Urki is confused in the distance, but he uses this opportunity to investigate the two doors, one leading to the back, where you guys came from, and the one leading to the next room. But he is not gonna stop you guys from what you're doing. He's just preparing for the next action, if anything.
The quiet growling probably starts up again.
Mortis probably slowly opens his eyes. He stops silently praying. He just kind of stares ahead.
I'm not sure if he's going to be alright after this.
Is there anything we can do to help?
I wish I knew. I've tried all that I know, but I'm not experienced in these things.
Well, from what I know, grieving is sort of a process. It takes time and it's hard. So, I imagine that right now, Thorn just needs some time.
That's all we can give him, I guess.
Yeah, I really feel bad. I never had the experience of losing a friend like that. I don't know if either of you have ever been through that. Like the closest I've ever come is, when Hummer decided to leave Cat Castle, or, not seeing Faith for so long. And I know that you've lost Nara, Mortis, and, well, Methuselah's been away from Chrysantha, and so I know that we all understand, different kinds of loss. Thorn and Meepo had kind of become family, and I feel like that's the bond that we're slowly moving towards, but, I think as much as each of us are feeling Meepo's loss, Thorn's feeling it a lot more, because he knew Meepo better than we did.
That is very true. While death is a natural part of life, it doesn't make it any easier to let go. When I was traveling with Fool's Fortune, our leader, Feste, he sort of took on the role of guiding us with Luxair's teachings, and he did sort of tell us that death was hard, but, it is a necessary part of life. And, well, for a long time, we travel these roads of life. Eventually, we always sort of drift away from those that we love the most, but that doesn't make the journey that we've had any less memorable. It shouldn't sour the memories that we've shared and the stories that we've collected. In fact, I think that it's always something good to look back on.
You are both very wise, my friends. I have helped others through grief before. As a disciple of She, it is my role, but never like this. Never so soon after having one so close ripped away so violently. I suppose through my own detachment after what happened to Nara, I don't really know how to process these things, but as old as I am, I hope that I will find time to learn how to help others in this way.
I always find that it's easiest to dwell on the good. You know, Luxor's teachings, they sort of tell us to collect stories and trinkets and things that bring good memories rather than the bad. You know, we had a lot of people who died in Fool's Fortune. There was a lot of orphans that we took in who lost their families due to war and raids, especially with the Draconic Empire. So death was quite common. But you find these sort of light in small places, and it's very important to dwell on the good, so that the grief doesn't consume.
Perhaps that's the answer then. I don't think Thorn is ready to mourn the loss of Meepo, but perhaps he's ready to celebrate the life of Meepo and all the times that they've had together. It's all I can think of anyways, but it would give us an opportunity to briefly honor him before we move on.
I'd say what I liked most about Meepo is how devoted he was to his cause. You know, there was some sort of bright light within Meepo that kept him going and gave him courage, and that was simply wonderful.
What I enjoyed most about Meepo was his curiosity. He reminded me a bit of Thorn in a way, always eager to look out into the world and find something new and exciting. He always seemed ready for the next adventure, and what we would find next, never backing down in the face of danger.
Well, I think that my favorite thing about Meepo was the youthful energy. I feel like, you know, even though he wasn't a tabaxi, he lived by a lot of the things that the cat lady really strives to have in the community, like play and fun and love, and he fit really well in with our little family that we're growing here.
After a moment of silence, Mortis kind of looks over towards the tapestry.
And you, old friend? What did you love most about Meepo?
You guys hear kind of like a
My favorite part about Meepo was when he was alive!
and then see like as Thorn is having like a mini tantrum underneath the blanket, you can see that maybe he's activated his primal savagery and he's just like attacking the tapestry as if he's trying to get out of it, but he's gotten himself tangled up in it.
Mortis gets up and gently tries to help lift the tapestry off of him.
I'd say you get it off of Thorn. You can see that his hair is all disheveled and his eyes are very wide and they're probably glowing, and he like swings around and stares at you guys, and he looks very angry, but he's also crying. You're not sure if it's from sadness or just frustration. And as he's glaring at you, he goes,
I knew this was happening. It was just like he said. String cats will make suffering the bear.
and he clenches his fist and he points to Methuselah and he goes,
I hate you!
and he points to Seeker,
And you!
and he points to Mortis, goes,
And I hate you the very most! All you do is stray me away from what I need to do!
Mortis looks visibly kind of hurt. It doesn't show too much on his face, just a slight little twinge in his armor. He looks like he's trying to speak, but he can't really find the words. And then he just steps back.
Oh, and I hate stupid meeples the most!
and he like grabs the tapestry and puts it in his mouth and like a dog, and he's like,
Oh, stupid things! Take Meepo back to such bad times! Oh, Meepo should have never said anything to Thorn. Oh, Meepo!
and he starts crying.
Well, if Meepo had never spoken to you, then you wouldn't have met such a good friend. Someone who accepted you and cared for you. You would be alone. Is that better?
Yes, Thorn wants to be only alone. Thorn only needs one person. Yes, one person only. Someone who brings no more pain, no more suffering.
Very deep but very quiet laughter starts to be heard in the back of Thorn's mind.
When Thorn hears this, I think he also starts to laugh a little bit, and then he starts like pacing very aimlessly, like he doesn't really know what to do with himself. And He seems angry and sad and frustrated, like someone who's just really pent up, doesn't know how to deal with their emotions.
It's alright to feel angry when you're grieving. It's sort of a part of the process. But if you can't feel pain, it's very hard to feel joy. When there's nothing but light, you can't see it. The light is more visible in the darkness. And it's okay to feel what you're feeling. But we're all here for you.
Thorn glares at Methuselah. He's trying to still be really angry, but his bottom lip is shaking, and he goes,
I don't want to have any pain. No, there's no need for pain. Only one thing. Only happiness and joy and the colors. Things would be so nice if Thorn could go back to the place of colors. But now Thorn is stuck here until he finishes one thing, and then he can go back.
And what is this thing that you have to do? The thing that will stop all the pain and bring you back to the place of colors?
Thorn's stare at Methuselah gets more intensity, and he goes,
Won't tells you. The more that you know, the more pain that you cause.
You know, at some point you're going to have to be honest. Not just with us, but with yourself.
And he's just gonna walk over towards Urki.
Thorn steps forward and growls, and then skitters around Methuselah and Seeker, staring at them. And then he follows Mortis, but he stays a meter behind Mortis, but he's following.
Mortis, you do notice a few skittering steps approaching you in the back. Steps that you know well, way too well.
Mortis makes a mental note of the steps, and he's gonna walk over towards Urki.
Sorry about that. Have you been able to figure anything out?
Yeah. The place that we came from, the trap is still active, so I don't think anybody has got close to the door. But I heard skittering on the door. I think they're preparing an ambush if we decide to go close to that area one more time.
Is that the only path forward?
No, there's this one over here. And he kind of gestures towards the double doors. It leads to an empty hallway. I don't know what to expect out of that.
Well, we need to find a path so we can finish our quest. It's the only thing that matters right now.
My gut feeling, the empty hallway. There are lit torches in there. Almost as if they are expecting people to travel in it.
Well, let's not disappoint them.
He's gonna start trudging towards the door.
I'll lead.
Urki gives it space to Thorn, but then he gestures towards Methuselah and Seeker. Hey guys, we're going!
Well, gloves off, let's go. And Methuselah's no longer wearing the gloves. They've actually got their cool magical hands out in the open now that everyone knows. He's not afraid to sort of keep it visible.
Seeker's gonna notice Methuselah doing that. Methuselah, I really think that that's really cool that you decided to show part of who you are.
I'm not ashamed of it.
Oh, you shouldn't be. I think that you're absolutely amazing, and this is just a small part of who you are. It doesn't define you. It's just really cool.
Opening the door, it is an empty hallway like Urki described, with several torches mounted on crude scones, burning fitfully around this chamber, filling the air with a haze of small smoke, enough to obscure a little bit of your vision, but not enough to suffocate you. There are double rows of marble columns, carved with intertwined dragons of flight, that runs the length of the hall. It is a clear path toward what seems to be a set of few doors to your right. One in the very end of the hall, two in the same wall that you guys have just emerged from. And the closest door is on your left.
Well, should we try out a door? See what's behind it?
I think that that's a good idea.
We could, scout out for traps and listen behind doors as well. We can all probably take one.
I think so. I think that that's a good idea. And Seeker's gonna turn to Urki, still looking at him suspiciously. Would you mind taking one of the doors, Urki?
Well, if I'm gonna take one of the doors, I'm gonna take one of the right ones. The left one over here is in the same direction as the one that we came from inside of the room with the dragon. So I'm pretty sure it's gonna head back.
Alright, that's a very fair point. I'll go to the end of the hall. Methuselah?
I'll take one of the side doors beside the one that Urki.
Without saying a word, Morris is just gonna kind of walk up to one of the doors, like he has a hand on his greatsword.
Everyone be cautious.
Thorn kind of stands at the door they came from in indecision. He decides to just kind of stand there and wait and see what happens.
Mortis, as you are cautiously approaching this door, you decide to take a look to see if there's anything on the bottom, anything on the handle. As you step forward, you lose your balance a little bit with a piece of debris that is on the ground, and you instinctively extend your hand to catch your balance. As you extend your hand, you hit the door, and the door just opens. It's a small hallway, but nothing outside.
He like fixes his composure.
This way seems relatively clear.
Meanwhile, Seeker, you investigate the door, and although it does have a locking mechanism, it doesn't seem to be trapped.
I would just like to open my door.
The door swings gently, making a little bit of a... It's an empty hallway, leading towards the same direction as Mortis's hallway.
Well, this one seems clear. It's another hallway.
You guys hear Urki. Guys, there are goblins behind this one. Let's not go behind this one.
When Urki mentions goblins, can I look back at Thorn and see how Thorn reacts to that?
Thorn reacts by his ears pinning. He gets airplane ears. And he nervously glances towards where Urki is. And he still looks indecisive as to like where he wants to go.
Yes, I suppose we should avoid that door.
Can Seeker try to open the door? Before opening the door, they want to double check. They want to press their ear up against it and see if they can hear anything.
Do a perception check, please.
That would be a 15.
You can easily discern from the other side that there is a bunch of activity. There is steps, there is conversations, there is metal on metal work. There is a lot of people behind this door.
Hey guys, do you want to come over here and listen behind this door with me? Don't open it. Don't open it, but there's sounds, and I can't quite make them out.
Thorn sheepishly walks over to where Seeker is, and he also presses his ear against the door. And what he's actually going to do is he's going to try to look through the keyhole if he can do that.
Yes, you can. Please roll a perception check.
Thorn got a 17.
Through the little keyhole, you're able to see a little bit. The angle is not the best, but also the quantity of goblins inside of this room seems to be a big room as well. It's enough for you to know this is a goblin village. This is where the entire goblin community is in. I also want you to do a little bit of a intelligence check for me.
I got a 13.
There's something deep within your gut telling you there's something familiar here, you just can't put your finger on it.
I guess I could ask if I could roll history or investigation to sort of like follow down this stream of deja vu, trying to grab hold of some sort of memory.
I would allow it. Do an investigation check.
Natural 20, so that will be 24.
You press on within your head to figure out what it is that is giving you that ache, that unquietness. You start to notice the little things. How there's a small stall with specific cloths hanged in a specific way. That you have seen this mannerism before. Or how there is what seems to be a specific humming coming from one of the other areas near the door. Sounds like the humming of someone that you know before. And then you start picking out more and more details. that composes to you what seems to be the portrait of the Huggleborn clan. It was a mystery, now you know for a fact. This is your old tribe.
Well, hey there, friends. You've reached the end of this episode of the Sunless Citadel. Thank you so much for listening. Subscribe to us on whatever app you use to listen to podcasts, and be sure to catch the next installment of the Sunless Citadel every Thursday at 12 p.m. EST. If you like the show, please consider leaving a review. It's a small way to show your support that goes a long way. To connect with us, follow our social media accounts, and if you'd like to support us, well, you can head on over to our Patreon to join the conversation, view sneak peeks of our next project, and discover our fantastic bonus content. Our intro score was created by Patrick Gordon from Off the Beaten Path Musical. The Sunless Citadel can be found in Tales from the Yawning Portal by Wizards of the Coast. The world of Nosso Mondus was created by Pedro Stockler. Thanks again for listening from all of us at the Storyteller's Tavern.